Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and thought, something feels different today, but I can't quite put my finger on it? Maybe your face looks a little more tired, or your body feels a little slower getting out of bed. But it's not just the wrinkles, not just the gray hair. It's something quieter, subtler, almost invisible to the people around you. That's aging. And sometimes the most important signs that your body is changing are the ones no one talks about. Today, I want to walk you through 4 of those signs. Not the obvious ones, the ones that slip under the radar, the ones that seem harmless, but could be telling you something much deeper about your health, your strength, and your ability to stay independent. And if you're living alone, or spending more time by yourself these days, these signs are: have you ever laid in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep won't come? The room is quiet, too quiet. The clock ticks, hours pass. You turn to your side, then to the other. Your body is tired, but your mind won't shut off. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Especially important. Because when no one else is watching over you, you have to know how to watch over yourself. The truth is, most people don't even realize these things are happening until one day they wake up and wonder, when did I start feeling old? But there's good news. Once you see these signs clearly, you can do something about them. You can make changes. You can build strength again. You can keep your confidence. And you can continue to live the life you choose on your own terms. Here's what we're going to talk about. First, a change that's not visible to the eye, but can quietly affect how others perceive you. It's subtle, and sometimes uncomfortable to bring up. It's what some scientists call the scent of aging. Then we'll move to something more physical, a part of your body that may be getting bigger, even if your diet hasn't changed. And this one comes with risks you might not expect. After that, something that keeps growing while the rest of you shrinks. You might have noticed it in old pictures or in the mirror. It might even make you feel a little self-conscious, though it's completely natural. And finally, the one that concerns me the most, a silent shrinking in your lower body. One that could quietly steal your independence if you're not paying attention. Each of these signs might seem small on their own, but when we understand what they mean and what we can do, they become tools. Tools to stay strong. Tools to stay alert. Tools to stay free. Let's begin. I want to take you back to a quiet conversation I had with a man named Richard. He was 74, lived alone in a small home just outside of Boston. Very clean, very organized. Took care of himself. Never missed a day of brushing his teeth, ironing his clothes, or making his bed. But one afternoon, while folding laundry, he noticed something odd. His shirt, freshly washed, had a faint scent. It wasn't sweat. It wasn't detergent. It was something different. He asked his granddaughter about it. She hesitated, then gently said, "You smell like old books, like wood and dust. Not bad, just older." Richard was confused. He showered every day, changed clothes regularly, yet somehow there was a smell, a kind of mustiness that didn't go away. That's when he asked me. What he was noticing wasn't imaginary, and it wasn't something he could scrub away with stronger soap. It was something called nonenal. Nonenal is a chemical compound that appears more often in older adults. It forms on the surface of the skin through a process called lipid oxidation, a breakdown of natural oils and fatty acids. As we age, our skin produces fewer antioxidants. That makes it easier for these oils to oxidize, and when they do, they create that subtle, musty scent. You can't see it, but it clings to fabrics. It lingers in the air, and even though it doesn't mean you're dirty, it can still make you feel self-conscious, especially if no one explains it to you. This isn't about personal hygiene. It's biology. It's chemistry. And it happens to almost everyone, especially men, after the age of 60. But here's the part one want you to hear loud and clear. You can do something about it. You don't have to live with that musty feeling. You don't have to feel embarrassed. And you don't need to isolate yourself. There are soaps designed to break down the oils that cause nonenal. You can find them labeled as anti-aging body soap or deep cleansing for mature skin. You can wash clothes with baking soda or white vinegar to help neutralize odor trapped in fabric. Even your diet can help. Foods rich in antioxidants like green tea, berries, leafy greens help your skin fight oxidation from the inside out. And one of the most powerful tools? Fresh air. Let your home breathe. Open the windows. Let sunlight in. Circulation makes a bigger difference than any candle or air freshener ever could. More importantly, know that this is natural and more common than you think. If you've noticed a change in how your clothes smell, or if someone close to you has gently brought it up, you are not alone. In fact, if this sounds familiar, feel free to comment number 1 below. I read every message, and I can tell you this. Sharing your story helps others feel less alone. Now, let's talk about the second sign. This one shows up slowly even if your diet stays exactly the same. One day, your pants feel tighter around the waist. Your shirts don't fit like they used to, but the scale, it hasn't moved. So what's happening? That's what we'll explore next. The belly that keeps growing, even when your appetite doesn't. So let's talk about it. The belly that keeps growing, even when you're eating less than you used to. For many older adults, this is one of the most frustrating changes. You haven't changed your meals. You're not snacking more. In fact, some days your appetite is lower than it's ever been. And yet, your waistline tells a different story. You start to wonder if your clothes shrunk in the wash. But deep down, you know they didn't. This isn't just about vanity. This is about your health. And more importantly, your independence. What you're experiencing is something called sarcopenic obesity. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. As you age, your body naturally loses muscle, especially if you're not doing resistance training. But here's the tricky part. Even as your muscle decreases, your body tends to store more fat, particularly around the belly. So you might weigh the same on the scale, or even a little less. But inside your body, the balance has shifted. Less muscle, more fat. And most of that fat isn't just under your skin. It's around your organs, your liver, your intestines, your pancreas. This type of fat is called visceral fat, and it's the most dangerous kind. It increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. It even impacts your balance and mobility, because when your core is heavier and weaker, every step becomes a little less stable. Let me tell you about Maria. She was 68 when she came to me, very active all her life, walked every morning, never smoked, ate mostly home-cooked meals. But one day, she tripped on the last step of her porch. Just one step, a small fall. She fractured her hip. In the hospital, she told me, "I don't understand. I'm not overweight. I've never been overweight." But when we did a body scan, the results surprised her. She had lost almost 20% of her lean muscle in the past 10 years. And most of that loss was in her legs and hips. Meanwhile, her belly fat had quietly crept up, even though her weight hadn't changed. Her legs were no longer strong enough to support her safely, and her center of gravity had shifted forward, which made her more prone to falling. What happened to Maria isn't rare. In fact, it's one of the most common hidden risks for older adults, especially those who live alone. You don't see the danger until it's too late. But like I always say, awareness is power. If you've noticed your belly getting bigger, even if your meals haven't changed, you are not imagining it. And you are not alone. This change doesn't mean you've failed. It means your body is shifting. And now's the time to shift with it. Here's what you can do. The first key is resistance. Walking is great for your heart, but it won't rebuild muscle. You need to challenge your body even just with your own body weight. Start simple. Sit and stand from a chair 10 times without using your hands. If that's easy, try holding something light, a bag of rice, a book, while doing it, 2 or 3 times a day. This isn't just exercise. This is your daily dose of strength. Second, feed your muscles. Many older adults don't get enough protein. Your body needs more of it now than it did at 30. Add a bit of protein to each meal: eggs, yogurt, lentils, tofu, fish. Even a scoop of protein powder in a smoothie can make a difference. And finally, posture. That growing belly can pull your shoulders forward and tilt your hips. Spend a few minutes each day standing against a wall, gently pulling your shoulders back and tucking your chin slightly. It may feel strange at first, but it's helping your spine remember where it belongs. If any of this feels familiar, if you've noticed a rounder middle even without a bigger appetite, I invite you to share below. Just comment number 2, so others know they're not alone. And if you've found a small habit that helped you stay strong, share that too. You never know who might benefit from your story. And while you're here, feel free to tap that subscribe button and turn on the little bell. I'll be here every week, walking beside you, sharing the quiet truths and practical tools no one else is talking about. Now let's keep going, because while your belly might be growing, there's another part of your body that never stops growing. Your ears. That's right. You might have noticed it in the mirror, or in old family photos. 10 years ago, your face was different, but your ears? Somehow bigger. And no, you're not imagining it. Let me explain what's really going on, and why it matters more than just how you look. Yes, your ears really do grow as you age. Well, not exactly grow. They droop. The cartilage in your ears and nose breaks down over time, and gravity takes over. Pulls them downward, making them look longer, wider, sometimes even more wrinkled. It's one of those changes nobody warns you about. It's not harmful in itself, just a part of aging. But it's what it represents that matters more. Because if the cartilage in your ears is getting weaker, chances are, so are the other connective tissues in your body, your joints, your spine, even the tiny muscles that keep your eyes focused and your balance steady. Let me tell you about George. He was 73, still sharp, still independent. But over time, he started noticing little things. His ears looked bigger. His posture was slouching. He had more trouble stepping off curbs. Not falling, just that slight wobble as he landed. He didn't think much of it. Until one day, at the grocery store, he turned too quickly and fell straight into a shelf of soup cans. No major injury, but it shook him. What had changed? When we tested his balance, his inner ear was functioning normally. But his proprioception, the body's ability to sense its own position, was declining. And his neck muscles, once strong and steady, had weakened over time. Those sagging ears were just a sign of a bigger pattern. Aging isn't about one part breaking down. It's about how everything connects. So here's the key: rebuild your connections. Start with small balance drills. Stand on one foot while brushing your teeth. Close your eyes for 5 seconds while doing it, only if you're near a wall or counter. Do gentle neck rotations each day. Slowly look left and right, then up and down. Never force the movement. Just remind your body that it can still move. And work on your spine. Lay flat on the floor, knees bent, and gently press your lower back down. Then release. Do this 5 or 6 times. It helps reawaken those deep core muscles that support your balance and posture. And remember, the cartilage in your body thrives on gentle, regular motion. Movement is nourishment. If you stop moving, you speed up the decline. So don't ignore the subtle signs. Sagging ears might be nature's quiet whisper, reminding you to check in with your balance, your joints, your flexibility. If any of that sounds like something you've noticed, a bit more stiffness, a few more near stumbles, drop a number 3 in the comments. It's a simple way to connect, to share that you're paying attention. You might be surprised how many others are right there with you. And hey, if you're finding these insights helpful, make sure you're subscribed and that bell is on. Because the truth is, aging is full of surprises, but the more you understand, the more power you have to shape how you age. And speaking of surprises, let's talk about something you can't see in the mirror. Something quiet. Something inside your body that changes with age and can affect every organ you have. Your thirst. That's right. As you get older, your sense of thirst becomes less reliable. You might be dehydrated but not feel thirsty at all. And this can be dangerous. Think about it. Water isn't just about avoiding dry lips. It's how your body flushes out waste. It's how your brain stays sharp. It's how your muscles work, how your joints move, how your blood flows. Even a small dip in hydration can make a big impact. Fatigue, dizziness, confusion can mimic signs of dementia, even when it's just dehydration. I saw this with a woman named Judith. She was 80, lived alone, proud and independent. Her daughter called one morning, said she was slurring her words. They thought it might be a stroke. Rushed her to the ER. Turned out, not a stroke. It was dehydration. Her sodium levels were off, her blood pressure was low, and her brain wasn't getting what it needed. All because she hadn't had much water in 2 days. She didn't feel thirsty, so she didn't drink. This is more common than you think. So how do you fix it? Don't wait to feel thirsty. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. Then another with lunch. Another in the afternoon. And if plain water isn't appealing, try warm herbal teas, broth, or diluted juice. Use visual cues. Keep a glass where you can see it on the table by the bed next to the remote. Every time you see it, it's a gentle reminder to take a sip. You don't need to flood your body. Just sip consistently. And if you're on medications that affect fluid balance, like diuretics or blood pressure pills, talk to your doctor. Hydration is more than water. It's about electrolytes, balance, and timing. Judith is doing fine now, but that one day scared her. Now she drinks on schedule, not on impulse. Her clarity is back. Her strength returned. And she tells everyone, you don't have to be thirsty to be running dry. If this resonates, if you've ever gone a whole day without realizing you barely drank, just comment number 4 down below. That small act might inspire someone else to take that next sip. We're not just building awareness here. We're building habits together. Because every habit, no matter how small, is a way of saying, I still care about my life. I still choose strength. And in a moment, we'll talk about something that matters more than muscles, more than water, even more than balance. Sleep. Not just how long you sleep, but how your body changes the way it sleeps as you age. And how poor sleep quietly chips away at your memory, your mood, and your ability to stay independent. Let's walk into that night together. Let's walk into that night together. Because sleep, once so easy, so natural, becomes something very different as we age. You might still go to bed at 10 and wake at 6, but the sleep in between, it's lighter, more fragmented. You wake up more often, sometimes to use the bathroom, sometimes for no clear reason at all. And even when you sleep through the night, you may not feel rested. That's not in your head. That's biology. As we get older, we produce less melatonin, the hormone that tells our brain it's time to sleep. Our circadian rhythm, the internal clock that controls when we feel sleepy or alert, starts to shift. You might find yourself nodding off at 8 p.m., then wide awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling. And over time, poor sleep chips away at more than just energy. It affects memory. It weakens your immune system. It raises blood pressure. It slows healing. It amplifies feelings of sadness or confusion. And for older adults who live alone, that quiet 2 a.m. wake-up can feel like a spotlight on loneliness. Let me tell you about Henry. He was 76, retired engineer, lived alone since his wife passed. Every night he went to bed early, exhausted. But every night he'd wake around 2:30, restless. Sometimes he'd read. Sometimes he'd walk the hallway. Sometimes he'd just lie there in silence, trying not to think. His daughter noticed something wasn't right. He was more forgetful. His blood sugar was all over the place. He'd stopped going to his morning walks. We ran some tests. No dementia, no major illness. But his sleep was fractured, averaging only 4.5 hours of deep sleep per night. His brain and body weren't recovering. He didn't need more pills. He needed to reset the rhythm. So we started with light. First thing every morning, even before coffee, he'd step outside. 10 minutes of real sunlight. Even if it was cloudy, even through a window, natural light tells your brain, this is morning. Sets the clock. He stopped using screens after 8 p.m. The blue light was tricking his brain into staying alert. Instead, he played soft music, took a warm shower, and dimmed the lights in his home one by one. A slow descent into night. We also adjusted his fluid intake. No large drinks after 7 p.m. to reduce bathroom trips. He began writing one sentence each night, something good from the day. Just one line. It gave his mind a gentle sense of closure. After 3 weeks, Henry started sleeping 6 to 7 hours straight. His memory felt sharper. His mood lifted. He got back to walking again. Now, not everyone will follow the same routine, but the principles are universal. Expose your eyes to morning light. Limit stimulation at night. No screens, loud news, or intense conversations just before bed. Build a quiet ritual. A cup of tea, a few stretches, a familiar song. Keep your room dark, cool, quiet. Think of it as your nest, not just your bed. And if you wake up at night, don't panic. Don't stare at the clock. Don't try to force sleep. Just breathe. Accept the moment. Remind yourself that resting, even without sleeping, is still healing. Sleep is not a race. It's a return. If this part speaks to you, if you've ever felt the frustration of waking too early or dragging through your day in a fog, write number 5 down in the comments. Let others know they're not alone in this. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. When you do, turn on that little bell, because each week we dive deeper into what it really means to age well, body, mind, and spirit. Speaking of spirit, so far we've talked about your bones, your balance, your hydration, your sleep. But there's something deeper we haven't touched yet. Something invisible but powerful. Something that can shape your entire experience of aging, even more than diet or exercise. I'm talking about loneliness, the kind that creeps in slowly, the kind you don't always talk about. You might be surrounded by people, but still feel isolated. Or you might live alone and tell yourself you're fine, but feel something heavy in your chest when the house is too quiet for too long. That's where we're going next. Because understanding loneliness isn't just about emotion. It's about survival. Let's open that door together gently. Let's open that door together gently. Because loneliness, for many older adults, is not just an emotion. It's a condition. One that hides beneath the surface, quiet and unspoken. Maybe your phone hasn't rung in days. Maybe it rings, but it's always someone trying to sell you something. Maybe the people you used to see, neighbors, friends from church, a brother you talk to every Sunday, they're gone or moved or drifting. And slowly, the days get longer. The silence gets louder. Here's what many people don't realize. Loneliness isn't just sad. It's dangerous. Social isolation has the same impact on your body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and early death. It changes how your brain works. You become more reactive to stress, more likely to feel anxious or forgetful. It even affects your immune system, making it harder for you to fight off illness. I remember a woman named June. She was 81, lived alone after her sister passed. She still cooked, still cleaned, but she told me she didn't talk to another human being for 8 or 9 days at a time. No one to eat with, no one to laugh with, no one to even say good morning. Her physical health was declining, not from any disease but from disconnection. June wasn't depressed. She was invisible. We didn't start with therapy. We started with one question. Who do you still care about? She said, I used to sing in the choir. I miss that. So we found a senior center with a weekly music group. We arranged a van pickup. The first time, she almost didn't go, but she did, and something shifted. The second time, she brought a small notebook, wrote down the lyrics. The third time, someone recognized her from church 20 years ago. She started smiling again, eating better, sleeping better. Her blood pressure improved, not because of a pill, because of connection. Connection heals. It doesn't need to be big. You don't need to join a club or learn a new language. Sometimes it starts with one simple habit. Step outside and wave at someone. Call one person each week. Say hello to the cashier, the mailman, the neighbor walking their dog. Volunteer even just once a month. Help someone else and you'll feel more alive yourself. If you're online, leave a comment, like this one, and reply to someone else's. Build a small thread of kindness. Even writing a letter, yes, an old-fashioned letter, can spark something in you. You are not too old to make new friends, and you are never too old to be needed. So if this part resonates with you, if you've ever felt that deep silence at night, or the ache of not being seen, write number 6 in the comments. Let it be a small signal to others that they're not alone either. And if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell. This space is for you. And we're not done. Because everything we've covered, your bones, your balance, hydration, sleep, and spirit, they all come together in one idea. You are still here. And being here means you still have choices. You still have power. You still have something to give and something to learn. Aging doesn't mean shrinking. It means distilling, focusing, becoming more of who you really are. So I'll leave you with this. What's one lesson life has taught you? The hard way or the beautiful way? Something you'd tell your younger self or a younger stranger? Write it in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found value in this journey, share it. Not for me, for the next person who needs a voice in the dark, a guide, a reminder that aging is not the end of the road. It's a deeper walk along it. And I'll be right here beside you, always,